Dog has been my shadow all day today, so
That's all right.
I'd like escape him.
I get it. I'm recording, just so you know.
All right, cool. No worries. How
So
you been?
good, man. Good. I've been goofing around with these backgrounds. So
I
like,
like that one.
I think the green screen just has to go. Like, I feel like I need like a set, like you and I were talking about before. You know what I mean?
Well, ultimately, it could be an easy setup of you find just a corner, and
Right.
if you just have that angle,
Mhm.
it's a lot more appealing to the eye and everything.
Right.
But I saw your interview with Joby. I
Yeah.
thought the background was fine for that. You had like the angle going. You had stuff
Yeah.
up on the wall.
Dude, so it's literally just in my bedroom, and I put
Mhm.
my golf bag up and I hang up. So like my old golf bag.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think that kind of works, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean,
what I'm trying to do, and this is, I'm going to need your help a lot, and I do want to talk about this. So,
yeah.
um, one of them things that let me just get it started, and we'll talk, right? So,
All right, that's fine.
hey guys, this is John from the Bumbling Yeti podcast, episode 18. I have the legendary Mike Shannon here with me. Mike and I are friends, kind of, I guess, over the last couple years, right? So
Absolutely.
you're younger than I am. However,
Mm.
Mike and I came together through baseball. So
Mhm.
I'm rocking the hat because I miss our boys so much. And I I wear it.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. So I wear it all the time. And Mike and I became actually very fast friends. We
Mm.
have the same vision for um, not only what we're trying to do with these young men on the baseball team and helping them, I guess, succeed. But there's a lot of things in life that we actually agree on a lot as well. So
Mhm.
um, we'll try to stay away from some of the stuff that we talk about. All right. But, for the most part, Mike, he's just a genuine guy. He's a hard worker. And
Thank you.
so he's the head coach of the team um, that I coach with. So he has a great, vast knowledge of all sports in general. Just an
Thank you.
overall really nice guy. And he does a lot of stuff as well with like video and photography, and he's like an announcer. You'll get all that from this because he sounds like he should be on his own podcast, which I've been trying to get him into. So without further ado, it's my guy Mike. Thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. My pleasure. I've been waiting for this for the entire week. I
Yeah,
knew it was coming. I've been
yeah,
like, all right, I have to get my hair nice and proper for it.
yeah.
Look,
I
I
did.
even made the bed for you.
I did it too.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
Good God.
but
No,
but
but thank you for having me. This is
yeah,
awesome.
man. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, and I've been looking forward to this as well because I mean, I know a little bit about you. I know, you and I have gone back and forth, but it's funny because some of the backgrounds and stuff you had sent me, I've been kind of uh, messing around with because you take some amazing pictures. So I'll just throw this one
Thank
up there, right? So that's one of your pictures. But see, the
you. Oh,
green
yeah.
screen, I'm struggling. So,
With your perception of where you're at.
well, it's just so I have a camera up here, but
Right.
I'm looking down, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at you now, but I should be looking up here.
Right. That's why I'm looking here, but I
Yeah.
should be looking right there.
Right. Yeah. So,
Technology, man.
well, I mean, so my setup is so archaic. Like
Hmm.
I literally, I have a laptop over here. I
Hmm.
have a monitor here, which is pretty big. And then I have my old iPhone as the camera because my camera on my laptop is so old, it like pixelates everything. So
Mm.
I'm trying to get this thing going to the point where it makes sense for me.
Right.
And I have all the equipment that I need. I mean, for you and I had a conversation before. I'm going to put this up because it's a little bit more flattering. It shadows me out a little bit more. But so I have some ideas, and I talked to you about the green screen, which is obviously behind me right now.
Mhm.
But I feel like from my perspective, I want the video aspect of it to be more natural, and like it looks kind of good behind me, but like when I move,
Mhm.
like you can kind of see it's weird.
Right.
So
Right. and that's what I did a lot of stuff with. So add another element to it. I did a lot with water polo. I still work with
Sure.
the CWPA, and we go to tournaments. I was supposed to be in Phoenix a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to be at the University of Arizona. They had the national tournament there, but obviously that got canceled.
Right.
But we do a lot of green screen stuff, and that's the problem that you get. Is first of all, you can't wear a green shirt, you can't wear a blue shirt.
Right.
But once you get it all queued up and everything, then you run into the problem of if somebody has a lot of flowing hair, then you get the little spots in between that don't
Yeah.
match up and it looks blocky. And
Right.
yeah, I totally went through a bunch of that stuff. It's not
Yeah.
fun.
I had a friend of mine, his name's Brian Steffen. He's a golf guy I met through the golf business and actually through a mutual friend of him and I. And he has a pretty big golf show down in Myrtle Beach. And
Great place to have it.
yeah, he's the only real interesting thing about him is that like he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and a Penguins fan. But I think he's a Phillies fan too, which is kind of odd. But you know,
See, that's what one of my buddies is a Steelers fan.
yeah.
He used to like Dirk Nowitzki, so he was a
Okay.
Mavs fan until he retired. Now
You
he's a
can't
Sixers
not
fan.
like Dirk Nowitzki though.
It's the same here, but
That's
I mean,
like
I
that's
was
like
still
not
rocking
liking
with
David
the
Robinson.
process.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right, like so he's a Phillies fan, he's a Steelers fan, he's a Sixers fan, and he was a Blackhawks fan. So
Right.
I bring it up every chance I get. Like, dude, you're like the Cowboy, Yankee, Penguins, and Warriors fan.
Yeah. Like I'm so hardcore Philadelphia fan, right? So I'm not a
Absolutely.
huge football fan. I never really have been, but I like the Eagles and I'm super. Are you kidding me? For real? Like I
Go
should
Phillies.
get mine on. Yeah, right. But so like Phillies, I love the Phillies. Like I would watch them any chance I get. But like the Eagles, I could, I like them. I never played football. I was always too fat when I was little.
Same.
And then when I got so they all played like weight football, right?
Right.
So I would be like 9 years old playing with like 14 and 15-year-olds, and that's a big age gap.
That was the difference with me too. I was a brick what house, and my
Right.
parents were like, "You want to play?" We went to the Bridgeport Dragons when I was like 4, and they were like, "Nah,
He's got to play with the
King of Prussia, maybe."
8-year-olds, right?
Yeah, I was like, "No, it's all right." Went to baseball, it was fine.
Right. Yeah. So I never did that, and then when I got to like middle school, I fractured my neck, so I never wanted to go through that again. I diving in a pool like a dummy and hit my head on the bottom, but so I kind of stuck with baseball. There was no weight limit in baseball. No matter how hard the schools tried and the little leagues tried to not make uniforms big enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's back in the day. That's why I like to wear my number that I wore was number 13, and that was just because as they went, the smallest uniform was 1 and the largest was 13. So there's generally 13 or 14 kids on the team. But even now for Legion, which we coach, we have to be fully dressed, as you know, but I wear the number 99 because that was my uncle's number when he played softball. And when he passed away, like a huge part of me went away, but that's why, when I said I need to have 99, everyone's like, "Oh, there's no kids that want 99." I'm like, man, there are a bunch of kids that wear number 99. So.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, man. So, you see, I just get so off track, Mike. Like,
No, that's what I love about it. It's like sometimes I'm watching Joe. Like I'm going to the shore. My buddy's flying in from California tonight. I'm going to meet him down the shore tomorrow. Practice your safe spacing, like all that good stuff.
dude,
Whatever.
you're not going to hear that.
I'm
going to
be in a house with like 10 other people. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm done with it. But regardless, I mean, that's the thing. I'm going to be listening to Joe Rogan's podcast on my drive down, and he's interviewed Tony Hawk.
Dude, I listened to it today. It
that's
was
what I'm saying. Like,
amazing.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
He's my one buddy TJ. He said, it just sounds like he's a 50-year-old dude, just like an absolute bro. I was like, yeah. I mean, like it wasn't that long ago he hit that 900.
He talks about a lot of that stuff. And I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, no spoilers.
It's like a lot of other. It's like a lot of other interviews he's done. But like Joe Rogan, he clearly never like skateboarded or anything. He's like like that
No.
hardcore like Jersey dude who is, you
Yep.
know, out in LA now. But it's a great episode, man. And
He's
all
gonna be
his
moving to Texas soon, man. You see, he's talking about it.
yeah. So do you listen to Bert Kreischer's or
No, I
like
should. I love Bert.
him and Tom Segura have one called Two Bears One Cave. Mike, it's one of the funniest things. Like, and they talk about the most ridiculous stuff. And Tom Segura is very funny. And I didn't realize how funny he was until all this came out, but he's very funny. And then Bert Kreischer also has a show with Bill Burr called the Bill Burt
L-
Podcast.
Love Bill Burr.
So
Love Bill Burr.
they, the way that they just talk is just hilarious. And Bert Kreischer is actually doing the movie now. They're starting to cast the movie for his Machine story.
My God, they're making that into an actual movie.
Yeah.
That is hands down the greatest story I think a comedian's ever told. Like,
Right.
I love that story.
Yeah.
I need to, like, I love those panels where they have like 7 comedians and it's like Bert, Bill, Joe Rogan's on there. You got everybody and they just roast each other.
Yeah.
I could watch those videos for hours. I love those guys.
So one of the guys I've really gotten into lately is Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, he's funny too.
Some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, I just listen to podcasts all day. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just because there's a lot of actually really good content. Like they'll take the news and they'll put it in the spin the way that I want to hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys are so successful. You see Rogan just got $100 million from Spotify.
Yeah. He deserves that, man. He's got so many views, and I mean,
they said he does 150. He does like 150 million views like a month.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Nuts. I mean, you think about it, he probably
that's
does
half
like
the U.S. watching him.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. But I mean, he puts on a great podcast.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People want somebody who, like, he will have anybody on if you have something interesting to talk about. Like, I listened to a guy who was this was a really good one. I forget the guy's name, but he actually was in jail in Delco. He did like some serious time there. He broke out of jail. He went on some wild, like, they chased him down for like a week, and he was just hiding in like media. And he goes and tells this whole story, and I'm like, I never heard a thing about this.
Yeah. Well, you don't hear anything when it comes to, you know, bad news around here.
No, except for snowstorms. I love this comparison. So there's a big difference that I pointed out. I studied media, obviously, in school.
Mm-hmm.
So during winter storms, I loved to watch the 6 o'clock news with Jim Gardner. Because I love Jim Gardner. He's an absolute legend.
Yep.
But then if you just stay on ABC, it transitions into the 6:30 slot of World News Tonight with David Muir.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he comes up, and it's Jim Gardner, like, showing B-roll of kids sledding down the art museum.
Right.
And they're like, well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a nice, warm, comfortable evening. Grab some hot cocoa, grab your loved one and watch a movie. We'll see you tomorrow. And then it transitions, and it's tonight. We have power outages in the Northeast. Millions are without food or resources. I'm like, David, calm down. I just saw kids on the art museum steps. They're all right.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we can go one day without like school or anything like that. I mean, then you look at it now.
Well, now they're not going to be able to do snow days.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think I think they've proven that. I think they've proven that, you know, even from an office worker point of view, you know, there's a lot of conversations now about real estate companies or big commercial realtors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are not, they're looking to not renew leases in the city because they're like, hey, if we can do this now, why can't we do this and maybe have like a small communal space, right? So maybe that whole WeWork thing would have worked out now, but, you know, they screwed that up too. It's a shame.
I still really just, like, I doubt anything will go back to the way it was. I really do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I am going to miss, like, I'm going to shake everybody's hand that I can. I've missed shaking people's hands.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the simple stuff like that I'm afraid people are going to let go of.
Like, I mean, you and I've talked about this and we went back and forth and, you know, as far as the sports go, I mean, I have I have two daughters that both play softball. One plays volleyball, and the other is a cheerleader. But like I'm looking around, like some of the players that we've coached are seniors this year. They weren't able to play their senior year of baseball, or the girls with playing lacrosse, or
Yep. And
it's
that's
a shame.
yeah, exactly. And I work at Harriton down in Lower Marion, Harriton
Right.
High School,
Hmm.
and I was working with the freshman baseball team. It was awesome. I was right. I mean, they won their league not last year, the year before. I think they had a kid go in the second round of the draft to the
Right.
Angels. He throws in
Yeah.
the 90s. Like
Hmm.
I was excited. I was like, all right, this is cool. I just want to like help out a little bit. And there was this kid that I help out with. His name's Avi, and I'm an instructional aide, so I get assigned to like a kid or a group of kids, and I
Right.
like watch and make sure they're all good.
Hmm.
He loved it. He didn't ever play baseball in his life. He went out for the team, made the team, is going to help out, and like all he wanted was just to like I
Be a
put a
part of
tee.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I just put the tee down, put a ball on it, swings, he loves it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm mad about. Is it's not the fact besides from the fact that the seniors and even our kids, the 16 or 15-year-olds that
Yeah.
are going to be 16 next year or
Yeah.
17, um, we're not going to be able to get them. But the kids that just want to go out and be a part of something like that, they don't have anything else to join like that, and
Yeah.
that might be their only way to make friends or
Yeah. And
socialize.
even
So
from like
I feel them.
the little league level, right? So
Oh
kids that were
yeah,
12 that were going to have like their breakout year and hit home runs on the field, they move up. They have to play on a regulation size field now.
and
Well,
that's a tough
close to.
transition.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I remember the first time I had to run those long bases. Man.
That's when we learn to hit it far so you don't have to run.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Mike. I always had to hit it far, and I would like lead the league in doubles, and I'd have guys on first base that would make it home before I would get to second base. So, I mean, it's just a shame. I feel bad for those boys and for all the kids, and I mean, even the kids. Like my daughter's in 8th grade. She's not going to have her
Yeah.
semi-formal, at the
Yeah.
end of the year going up to the high school, and who knows what the fall brings. I'm not fully convinced, and as much as I wanted to have baseball this year, when you really think about it, baseball is a really dirty and nasty, disgusting
Oh,
sport,
absolutely.
right? So like
Yeah.
you're always spitting, you're spitting on your hands and
Yep.
touching the bat. It's
Helmet.
just, oh yeah, it's just,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you
I
spitting on
love
the
that
ball,
though.
licking your hand. I do too, but then
Love
this whole
that.
thing comes out. It's like, if you lick your hand, you're gonna die. You got to weigh the options there, right?
Yeah, they're gonna throw you out of the game if you just lift your finger a little bit. Just trying to get a
Yeah,
grip, guys. Like, look, just trying to get a grip.
I just can't. Like I struggle every day, like
Mhm.
legit struggle every day to try to wrap my head around this, and it just becomes more and more difficult. And you're seeing, like, so we're here in Pennsylvania, right? So
Mhm.
which anyone who's not here in Pennsylvania, just read the news or Google Pennsylvania and the governor, and that's as far as politics I'll go. But
Mhm.
like I'm seeing people, and I have friends in Florida. They've been playing golf for like the last like probably 2 months. Yeah, I
Mhm.
have friends in Florida that like Mike. I wasn't even able to take my boat out because the boat ramps were closed.
Yeah,
Like
and that makes no sense.
right in Maryland, you weren't allowed to take your boat out unless you had bait on the boat and you had a fishing pole and you were fishing for sustenance. If you did not have those on there, you were getting a fine. At least that's
That's
what the
insane.
news said.
And you know what's nuts is those there was a kid that my buddy who is coming out from California, he went to school with this kid who's from Maryland, and he got to high school every day by boat.
By boat.
And I'm like, I like his family would just move boats down the coast for like the summer or
Yeah.
whatever, make a lot of money, and then they just had a boat and
Yeah.
he would live on it, and then he would do all these trips. But yeah, during high school, he's taking his boat to school. I'm like,
That
this is awesome.
that is like the absolute dream of mine.
Right? Like I would not. Here's the one thing. I forget what comedian said it. But he's like, money can't buy happiness, but I've never seen somebody mad on a jet ski. Yeah, I
Dude,
forget who said that.
that's the truth. I never.
But except for Jay-Z, there is a picture of Jay-Z absolutely mad on a jet
Yeah,
ski.
yeah, but yeah, in front of his what, like $90 million yacht.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'd
like
be miserable too. I'd be miserable
it's like
too.
I'm happy when I see a cold Yingling. I don't know. I don't want to know what makes this
Right.
guy happy then.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man. So it's been crazy, obviously, and I know you just made kind of the career move back to like you want to be a teacher, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I
was
don't.
it was an interesting road, man.
Yeah, I'm
It
sure.
was it was insane just from the fact that going through school, I always wanted to do broadcasting, be in front of a camera, all
Right.
that. Um, I did well enough in all of my classes. Like I had a former NBC or Comcast Sportsnet at the time. His name's Matt Fine. He
Hmm.
was one of my professors down at Temple. His kid went to middle school where my mom works. Like we became like pretty good. I could still call him right now and be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
I
Mr.
think.
Fine, how you doing?"
Yeah, I know
But
the name rings a bell.
yeah, he was all over the place in like the early mid 2000s.
Right.
That was like his heyday. And then I
Yeah.
think '09 or 10, he went to Temple. But I went through all those. I got solid grades in those classes. But what kills me, absolutely kills me, was the extracurricular or the gen eds that they would
Yeah.
make you take.
Hmm.
I would be sitting in this one class, like looking around, like I have no idea why I'm learning about this right now. I
Yeah.
want to learn about technology and all that.
Yeah.
But I end up getting out of school and it was just almost impossible to find something that would be able to pay off my student loans in 6 months
Right.
while also being able to just support myself, period.
Yeah.
Like everything's internship. And I did a couple of those, still nothing came. And then ultimately I was like, all right, instructional aid, be an instructional aid. And I'll tell you what, I've never had more fun at work
Yeah. That's
than
good.
being in there. I mean, it's just being around the kids and there's something different each day. And
Right.
it's awesome. Just,
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of stuff up here that annoys everybody around me. So I can finally just like release it a little bit.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
could
my
be like
sister,
one of the kids, right?
absolutely. And it's funny. There's another instructional aide. His name's Jimmy. All of the kids, he's only about 22. I'm 25, so it's not like I'm much older than him, but he's like 22 and he still looks like he should be kind of like in high school a little bit. So it's so funny because they don't call him like Mr. Turley or
Right.
anything. He's just Jimmy.
Right.
And then like I'll come walking behind him. Hi, Mr. Shannon. Like,
Yeah.
hi, how's it going? You can call me
Yeah.
like Mr. Mike if you want. But
Yeah.
like those kids are awesome. The school's great. The teachers are awesome. The admin's awesome. Like
Yeah.
everything there is sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
man,
bet
I
if you
love that.
shaved your face, you'd probably look 7 years younger.
No, I'll tell you what, man. If I shaved all of this, I don't think I would look the same at all.
No.
I haven't shaved this in about a year and a half clean,
Yeah.
and that was only because I messed up shaving. I like went too far up here, and I was like, "Crap!" Just took it all off. So
Dude,
I
I
just
do
shaved
that
it.
all the time. So I used to have like before it all went gray, right? So this actually used
Yeah,
to be brown, like
that is
the
just
eyebrows.
experience, okay?
Yeah, yeah, dude, just like that, right?
Yo, my brother's 28. He's bald too. That means nothing.
So yeah, it's crazy. The only reason that I have this is because I have like no chin profile whatsoever. Like my chin, like from the side, that's what my chin looks like. Like it doesn't even like it doesn't go back. Like
Listen, at
it's
least
like a
you don't
straight drop off.
at least you don't have a Habsburg chin. Those inbred like monarchs from Austria back in the day,
Yeah,
they had chins that were like out here because
right.
they were just marrying
I
their
need
sisters.
I need something in between. Something in between.
Yeah.
Right. But like I know like when I shave, I'm like, like my biggest fear is like chopping something. I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's my biggest fear with the mustache because I would actually look like a child if I messed the mustache up and I just had like a chin strap or something.
right.
I would look like an absolute child.
We'll have to do that at some point.
Listen, I told the guys on Harridan's baseball team, I was like, look, as freshmen, if you get to, I think we played, it was going to be somewhere around like 12, 14 games, something like that. I
Right.
was like, win 8 games and for the last however long we're in school, I'll just shave everything but the stash. So
Right.
that's my plan. As soon as
Right.
baseball comes back, I'm gonna get a Raleigh fingers going. Like,
Right. Yeah. There's this guy I worked with, his name's Nick, and he grew like the big beard, but
mhm.
he got like the wax and everything. And he had like the
Yeah.
whole thing with that kind of rolly fingers
Uh-huh.
mustache. But
That guy, I would imagine that has to hurt because
it's just like a wax. It's not like a
no, but like just all right. So like if you're taking it out, like say you're washing it,
mhm.
you like for my hair personally, I don't know if you've ever had this feeling with your beard because it's happened to me with my beard. But if you just go the opposite way and
Yeah.
it just like hurts a little bit,
Yeah. Mhm.
I can only imagine if it's waxed like that for a couple days and then you go to like take it out, it's got to be
Yeah.
excruciating,
Yeah.
but
Just like
still
try to like
worth it.
run a like a comb through it without like trying to straighten it out.
Yeah,
That
that's the
would be
trouble with
brutal.
that's the trouble with this mess too, man. I gotta get it thinned out every once in a while. I'm just gonna start shipping all my clippings to you. We're gonna make a toupee for you.
Yo, I had an amazing head of hair. And then what happened was like I guess when I got a job and I graduated school and I went to work, my first car I bought was a Wrangler, right? So I'd have the roof off all the
Cheap wave.
time, right? So exactly. As a matter of fact, you saw me the one day in my sister's Jeep when I was driving through the port, right?
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah.
And so what happened was I got tired of wearing a hat because you always get the line on the back of your
Uh-huh.
head. So I had all this hair and I'm like, the heck with it. Let me just buzz it. So I buzzed it down. Well, I kept doing it, and then like before I realized it, it wouldn't grow back like like here. And then like there's like this little weird thing here, but I think I'm pretty good. Like my head's pretty round.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, I was gonna say you have a good head to be bald. There would
yeah.
be no worse head than like mine because I
Right.
have like a little bit blocky. It's
Yeah.
yeah. My brother's got the round top. He'll rock that too. I'll be the guy with the white hair at our reunion. It's
I'll
all right.
tell you, I would love to have a good head of hair. Like I see so many people. I'm like, I'd kill for that head of hair. And
Yeah,
then,
but at the same time, how much money are you saving?
well, I'm saving a little bit, saving a
Just a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Yeah,
But I mean, you're
I
still
still got
spending
an
it.
extra large body to wash, Mike. You know what I mean? Like it's just because there's no hair there to like
It's extra schmedium.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's extra. Yeah. It's all relative depending on how you want to play it.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. So like I said, I'm gonna as far as like this whole thing goes, like I know I've reached out to you a lot just trying to figure out what could be done. And you're like, oh man, I could throw this set together, whatever. So
Hmm.
um my plan is to create a studio in my shed,
Oh, yep.
right?
You're
So
talking the right guy.
yeah, so when that all comes down, I mean, I'm throwing like heating and air conditioning in there and everything. Like,
You have to because I actually tried to start a podcast. I don't know if I told you this. It was like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
mhm,
It was when I originally was trying to just like get out of my original job and like
yeah,
still wanted to do broadcasting, but tried to do my own thing. So I did this thing. I set up my attic. I just cleared it all out. I
yeah,
had my table, had my computer set up. I had a separate like computer for like my notes and everything.
mhm,
And then I had my trophies, my like baseballs, like everything just like behind me. But it's in the attic during the summer with no air conditioning.
yeah,
So there's no face cam for that because I'm
right,
sitting there just wiping my face for, and then wintertime, I'm
yeah,
up there in a parka. So
right.
you have to record in the spring or the fall. And it
See,
just didn't
you
work
could
out.
have just called it the hot and cold podcast. Like it would have been like a whole thing.
I know that really should have been it. I really should have just embraced that and just went full webcam. Like
Yeah.
I'm in my bathing suit because it's summertime. I don't have
Yeah, why
AC.
not?
I have a little squirt bottle or something next to
Exact
me.
like some oscillating fan blowing next to you.
You just
Just you're just like letting your hair
yes.
blow.
Dude,
I could do that
that's the
here.
thing, man. Yeah. I had to shorten it up today too.
Yeah.
Quarantine beard is getting to me.
I haven't cut this for a little while. It's not
Yeah,
growing
it's
as
looking
fast,
nice. You got
but
you got
yeah,
the legit Billy going on.
yeah, I got it. It's crazy, man. And me, I pull on it all day.
Yep.
I'm sitting here. It's like instead of thinking, keep my hands off my face. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
trying to.
whatever.
trying to make it grow. But yeah, so I'm trying to I have to empty out my shed, right? So I have to build a,
Mhm.
a little box for like all my lawn equipment and stuff. There's not a whole lot of stuff in there, but
Right.
um yeah, so my plan is to have like a studio in there and a creative space. I mean, you've been to my house. It's super, super small, and I don't actually have
Mhm.
any more room. Right now I'm at my dining room table looking out of my kitchen door, and I can see my entire house from here. So, but I want to be able to, put some stuff up, and there's some really good studio ideas. So when that time comes, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you because,
Absolutely.
I mean, equipment
I
wise,
got a bunch of stuff for you to use too, like
okay,
decorations. If you
yeah,
need
yeah,
some, I got
cool,
a bunch
yeah,
that are just sitting in my attic.
yeah. I want to just maybe I'll get like pictures of like my favorite people and just like Photoshop me into it. Just have it in the background. Yeah.
I actually did that for White Elephant. Was it last year? No, 2 years ago. I did that. Um, my buddy, the Steelers fan. I just
Okay.
made a big old collage, big old picture collage. I found a picture of Big Ben with his wife and kids, and I
All right.
photoshopped my buddy's face on Big Ben's wife's face. And it was so I'm so good with that Photoshop that
Yeah.
it looks seamless. Nobody
Yeah.
realized that I put his face in there until
So
I
they really
pointed it
looked
out.
at it. Yeah.
Same thing with Tom and Giselle. I put
Yeah.
it my other buddy's face on Giselle. It
Right.
looked too good. Like there's just like there was just so much stuff that you can do with it. But
Yeah. That's one thing. Like I'm not good at photo. I don't, first of all, I don't have Photoshop. I don't have the software and stuff.
right.
Like even like the editing software I use for this is free. It's called Shotcut. And
Mhm.
like I guess the podcast I just released um with Job Fortner, if you didn't listen to it, go back and listen to it.
Mhm.
Um like I just did all that editing, and it's very basic, and it's super easy to use. But for me, like I would love to learn how to do all that stuff, but again, I don't have a proper setup. Like I want to have like a studio where I have like maybe um like a Mac, like a what are the I guess maybe like the bigger Mac,
Yeah, like the
the big
IMAX.
yeah,
Mhm.
something like that, so I can so I can do like editing and
That's what
have enough
I'm doing.
horsepower, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm using right now, and it is very good for if you're trying to do editing or anything.
Right.
But I'll tell you right now, the more powerful like computers for that would just be a PC.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Yeah.
if you're looking for like an editing computer, I would go PC all day,
Yeah.
only because you have so many different programs that you can use
Mhm.
that Mac just doesn't support
Right.
because they're not going to make money off of it. So why bother supporting it?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, again, I use this free software, and I mean, I have this podcast, and then I have the weekend boater stuff that I'm working on. I have some footage I got to be able to throw on, but then I have the Aqua Rhino brand, which is right there. I don't know
Hmm.
what's going on with that, but I mean, I want to have a space where I can go in and be creative because I don't really have that now. And working all day every day, um, I guess my escape is just really trying to be creative. And
Yeah,
um, it's funny. So I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Amir, but he and I
I've
talk.
heard you talk about
Yeah,
him.
he and I talk
Mhm.
quite a bit, and he's got an album coming out called Life After Radio. Just kind of a bad time to try to release an album.
Yeah,
Um,
or a
but
good time. Memorial Day weekend's a really good
yeah,
time.
yeah, but so I thought about that, but if you think about it, people are still not like out and about, right? So
Yeah, no.
if you're listening, if you're in your car and you're stuck in traffic and you want to hear some new stuff, that's I think when maybe you want to do it. And Joe Fortner actually mentioned that when I asked him when his music's going to come out, and he said he'd rather have people out in their car, even though if he can't have live performances, you
Right.
still get out there and you can get in your car and listen to music. So, but so I was texting Amir back and forth, and I'm like, and Mike, I'm not even joking when I say this. I am trying. I want to get a ghostwriter off of Fiverr to write me like a rap song, and
Oh,
I'm just gonna put it to a beat, and I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna. It's not gonna be like my name or anything associated with me. But I'm gonna just do it just because I always wanted to do it, and I'm gonna like I have all the equipment that I need, right? So
yeah.
I'm thinking, why not do it?
All right, so funny story. I am really good at writing those.
All right, well then
Not,
write me one.
no joke. All
Write
right,
me
I
one.
will. I'm that is actually one of my strong suits. Actually, writing like in English, I killed it. Every
Right.
time we had to do like poetry, got it. And one
I
little
was
songs, got
too. I was too, but I think like I'm gonna need to learn the cadence of it, right? So I
it. I
mean
got that down.
I've even thought, well, like maybe we could create like a new boy rap band, you know? But I mean it crazy enough, I'm thinking to myself, like, looking back on the people that I grew up with, right? Like, so like Master P made almost all of his money by recording in his bathroom, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I think this sounds pretty clear. And if it doesn't, I have a buddy who can master it,
Hmm.
you know. And then I have a guy I worked with when I was younger. He's like one of the hottest record producers that no one's ever heard of. Like, I mean, he's worked with all kind of people. Like, he just worked with Timberland like 2 months ago, you know. And like, you see it on his Instagram, and I'm like, yo, how you doing? He's like, oh man, this is like, I'm living my dream.
And those people, and that's the people that it really pays to know. And I mean, when I was there was one kid that graduated a couple years before me from Temple, and what was the album Kanye released? Not this last one, the one before. Was it Life of Pablo?
I think so, yeah.
So that album just came out,
Hmm.
and he called into my senior seminar class on FaceTime, and it was like 8 in the morning or something. And he like apparently woke up late. He was like half hour late for the video call. He's like, I'm sorry, I was in the studio until like 4 in the morning.
Right.
But he talked about it, and he was like, we'll be in the so this is an interesting story that he told us about how he got the job working for Kanye.
Hmm.
So for those who don't know, Kanye is a producer before he's a rapper.
Right.
That's how he got his whole fame, claim to fame. He was a producer, and they were like, dude, you're good at rapping. So he started rapping, and he was better, if not just as good. But he brought a bunch of audio engineers, which this kid was, into his studio,
Hmm.
and he just did a bunch of sessions with them. He was just like, all right, I got this beat, I got this verse for it, just line it up for me, make it sound good. And he would offer them all types of liquor, any girl you wanted,
Right.
like any drug you wanted. And this guy was like, all the other audio engineers were like all about it. They were like trying to just like fit in and everything.
Yep.
He was like, I was the only one in there that was dead sober the entire time.
Yep.
And that was the reason why I got the job. He told
Hmm.
me it was because he would be able to do all that stuff, and he could trust that I was able to do all of his audio
And
engineering,
not be
and it would
distracted.
sound like he wanted it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's wild how like the little things like that, they'll, if you have a chance to go, the whole thing is just be there to work.
Yep.
If you go somewhere and somebody gives you an opportunity, it's not to fit in right away. It's be yourself, but just work at the job. If you do
Well,
a
that
good job, you're going to get hired.
right. So that was part of my conversation with, and I don't want to keep harping on it, but from a music point of view, that's something I wanted to understand from Joe, because I mean, he's open for some of the biggest acts in
Yeah.
country music, like all time guys, right? So I'd asked him, you know, because when I've gone to see him at his shows, you know, he's clearly up there just, you know, crushing it, and he really,
Mm-hmm.
really does. But, um, you know, he said, you know, they go on, like, they might mix a drink or take a drink on stage with them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not going on stage after drinking. And he said, because you don't really know who's going to be there. You don't know what someone's looking for, because you don't want to have to deal with some guy who's going to be completely out of control. And
Yeah.
no matter how good they are, like, do you want to, I mean, do you want to deal with a Takashi 6 9? I wouldn't
Oh
want to
my
deal with that.
God.
You know, that's a whole other ball of wax. But yeah, man. So I'm really
This
thinking
he played that a little
hard.
bit sly though,
Yeah, he
Takashi.
did. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
And he released the song just laughing at everybody for being mad about him ratting on everyone. Which,
yeah,
in all fairness, it is, if you're going to be a rapper, you cannot rat on anybody. That's like the number one rule.
yeah. I don't,
But
I
I
mean,
mean, obviously, it doesn't matter anymore.
yeah, I have a whole different perspective. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, I think it's a, I don't know. I have a whole different perspective on that, but yeah, I mean, I again, I look at these people that are recording these songs, And bro, I would only need one and I could retire. Like I don't, I,
Yeah.
you know,
Look at Old Town Road. I forget the guy, Lil Nas
Little
X.
Nas X.
Yeah, that's the only. He's he even jokes about it. There's people putting out remixes
Hmm.
to that song,
And he's
and
getting paid on it.
he'll quote tweet it and be like, "Why are you making this? I've already made 18 of the versions of the same
Hmm.
song."
Yep.
And he gets it. He's like, "I'm
Yep.
a one hit wonder, and I'm gonna ride the coattails. Why
Mhm.
not?"
Yeah, I mean, I look at like I'm a big like this. I'm a huge fan of like Vanilla Ice still to this day. Like
Nice, nice.
still huge fan of his. And anytime when I would DJ, I would play his music and I'll request it no matter where I'm at. I'm like, you got to play this, and it's still one of them things that where it gets played. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. People are going to dance to it.
Yep,
So
yep.
I follow him on all the social medias, and then so on there he just came out with a new song called Ride the Horse. And so I saw it on the social media. I think it's his, but anyway, Forgiato Blow is in it. I don't know if you know who Forgiato Blow is.
Yeah, yeah.
So Forgiato Blow has a Vanilla Sprite remix with Rick Ross, Forgiato Blow, and Vanilla Ice, dude. And I literally just was driving and I just bumped it the whole day. Like it's because it has the hook in the back. It's like right, and then it's like it starts with Rick Ross, who is amazing.
I
Then it
love
goes to
Rick Ross.
Forgiato Blow, and then it goes to Vanilla Ice. But like the amazing thing about social media, like I reached out, I just put it on my story one day, and I'm like, yo, I said this, I'm a big fan of Vanilla Ice. It's like they call it the Vanilla Sprite remix, and the dude like Forgiato Blow like starts messaging me and he's like, dude, I appreciate the love, whatever. And I'm like, this, you just
Yeah,
like you're knocking. I don't want to say you're like knocking down barriers, but you couldn't do that with like Michael Jackson or Elton John or like I'm
no.
not comparing them at all. I don't want
How
anyone to get
dare
pissed off
you?
that I'm comparing Forgiato Blow to Michael
To
Jackson or
Elton
Elton
John.
John. But it's just one of them things where, and that was part of the conversation as well with Joe saying, I just messaged him. I'm like, yo, would you like to be on this podcast? He's like, dude, he said, that's the least I can do. Cause like I support everything. Like I had the shirt on and everything. And,
You go to the shows, you listen to the music,
yeah,
you
yeah,
help like spread the word about him.
exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I
Like,
wouldn't have found out about Job if you didn't tell me.
right. And so, I mean, I found him just somehow he and I got hooked up on Instagram, or I think I liked his stuff first because of whatever. But, when I saw him play the first time, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, this guy can sing. And like the people
Yeah.
he's open for, I mean, are they're selling out stadiums, like,
Yeah.
you know, and
And that's who was the have you ever heard of he's an up and coming guy from LA. His name's Bryce Fine.
I believe I've heard.
So he has a song with YG. Um it's called La La La.
Okay.
Look it up. Really good song.
Okay.
But it was like the song of like late last summer. Like it released off his like it was off YG's album or his album or something, and it blew up. He has a couple really good features. But getting back to it, when I was in high school, I used to go to a lot of these concerts for these two guys called OCD, Moosh and Twist.
Hmm.
They're literally my age right now.
Hmm.
And they were, when we were in high school, they were opening up shows for Mac Miller. And
Okay.
like I saw Mac Miller when he was in Oaks, when he was in Broomall. This
Right.
is like 2010, 2011, before like the kids just dropped, I think.
Hmm.
But regardless, he was at this one show in Fishtown, and he was just opening for OCD, and it was
Right.
literally the Foundry. It was in the
Yeah. Yeah.
Foundry, and it
Yep.
was only
I've been
like
there.
you can only fit so many people in the
Yeah.
upstairs part of it,
Right.
and it wasn't even like it was that packed. But he comes down off stage after, and he's taking pictures. I got a picture with him, and me and my buddy, we were just talking to him for like 20 minutes, and we were like, so like, how's it going? Like, how's showbiz and everything? He's like, oh, it's good, man. The only problem is like traveling around all this time, like not making a lot of money. I'm kind of like living like day to day pretty much, but like it's awesome seeing like everybody out here. And then lo and behold, my brother shows me that song that he came out with YG a year, like shows me last summer. And I'm like,
Right.
dude, I look through my phone and I'm like, I got a picture with that guy like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I look at my phone today and there he is. And he's
Yeah.
literally with YG on a song. I'm
Well,
like, it's nuts.
yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, like these guys, like my kids. So I've my oldest daughter's 16, my youngest is 14. So my youngest is more of a like country kind of. She does a little
Right.
bit of like she likes city girls and stuff like that, like all the mainstream kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
my oldest daughter, like she'll send me stuff, and I think it was uh Young Boy NBA. Like
That sounds like somebody.
he was doing shows out in Lancaster, like in a roller skating rink, like
Yeah.
probably
No,
like
that's
6
what.
months ago. Now he's one of the hottest guys out.
Mhm.
I mean,
All it takes is one song.
yeah. Unfortunately, I think for him, a lot of it had to do with the fights and stuff that were breaking out. But
Yeah.
so you mentioned YG, right? So you're a big
Mhm.
YG guy. So
A little bit.
my favorite YG song, I was just looking it up. Like that's why I was looking away.
Mhm.
Is I Just Want to Party. You ever hear
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Dude, that song reminds me of Jared Blair. And he's like one of my best friends. I think he might have coached you at one point in baseball, or
The
maybe
name
your
sounds
maybe
familiar.
your brother.
Yeah.
But when I hear that, like I think of him. But yeah, I mean, music, Mike, is just it really does bring people together. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it can divide like anything else. But
Absolutely. Like
but
Old Town Road. Is it country or is it rap? Or
yeah,
is it
and then
crap?
didn't Billy Ray Cyrus do a remix with him too?
Yeah, so it was officially on. And so I think that, yeah, he did a remix of the original song, and that got put on like the country top 50 or top 100 or whatever.
Right.
And people were freaking out. They were like, that is a rap song that just has a little bit of country in it. And then I keep listening to it. I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like Florida Georgia Line could be like an R&B group. They,
Right.
they're, they, there's so much blending going on right now, and
Yeah.
I love every second of it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So I have never seen Florida Georgia Line. I was supposed to go with Kenny Chesney, this
Oh
year.
my God,
So
Barefoot Tour.
yeah, so Kenny Chesney, it was supposed to be Kenny Chesney, Old Dominion, and Florida Georgia Line.
That's
And
nice.
so I mean, I went to Kenny Chesney last time he was here. I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Don't expect you to. Nobody does.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. I think I got something slipped in one of my drinks inside, which is, and like that's a lesson. I've never had that happen before, but I've
Yeah,
never had such like, and that was when who opened? I think it was Thomas Rhett opened,
good opening.
and then so no wait, it was Old Dominion first, then Thomas Rhett, and then Kenny Chesney. And
My
I don't remember a whole lot of Thomas Rhett other than he was wearing the throwback Kelly Green
oh,
Randall
yeah,
Cunningham jersey, right?
yeah.
And that was crazy because that show they brought the Super Bowl trophy out, and that was the first time that was right after, which it bothered me a little bit because Kenny Chesney is a New England Patriots guy, like
Yeah.
hardcore, and I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad that he was there and they brought it out because
That should be up in New England. Yeah,
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 right,
Kenny. All right.
yeah,
Yeah, play a
yeah.
song.
But yeah, man. So there were a couple concerts I was supposed to go to this year, and
Yeah.
they were canceled, right? So Zach Brown
Uh-huh.
supposed to go. I love going to Zach Brown, and like I think
That's
a
like a
lot of
folksy feel. I love that feel.
yeah, I was thinking about it not too long ago. Like it's not they're like I don't consider them country. I consider them more bluegrassy,
Mhm.
than anything because like their openers. Who did I see? I think it was Zach Brown last year. I think what's his name? Willie Nelson's son, Luke, I think, opened
Really?
for him. Yeah. I think that's who it was. Dude, that guy could sing. Like he sounds just like his dad, but he can get like really high, like an octave or whatever it is. It was just crazy, man. But
You don't want to hear that from me, man.
yeah,
We got to
I
stay
can
in our local range.
I can get in that range, but it has to be like for a short period of time.
You can't sustain something like that, man. We're big
No.
guys. We can't be having a high pitched voice like that.
Yeah, and then my eyes start to kind of tear up because my throat starts to hurt real bad.
Yeah,
But
that's serious, man.
yeah, so look, you do need to write me something, like just
Oh, I
write it
will.
for me, and even just if you could just find like some kind of beat, and just say, hey, here's how you would do it. And
You know what's funny? I actually part of my so I still kind of work with the water polo place,
mhm,
and I'm like a broadcast assistant, so I help run their streams, and
yeah,
I like make like little jingles for them if they like need an opening jingle or something.
mhm,
So one day I was messing around, I was like, that's actually pretty good. So I made like a full length 3 minute 30 second
mhm.
song out of it. I didn't write anything over it. It's just a beat. I'll send that to you
Okay.
afterwards. But yeah, I love messing around with that stuff. So
Yeah.
came to the right guy for that. That
Yeah.
was half my college life.
Well, I'll tell you, like, I really like. I am starting to convince myself that I can make this happen, Mike. Like,
You can. You
I'm
really
not even
can.
kidding. Like, why not me?
Exactly.
I mean, could you imagine? Like, I mean, I don't. And then I'm starting to think, I'm like when I DJ'd, people were always like, "Oh, what's your DJ name?" I'm like, "I'm John." Like,
My
I'm not
name's DJ
DJ.
John Kelly.
Like, don't call me DJ. Like, no. Like, if you want to, people are like, "Oh, what's your name?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm John." And they're like, "Well, your DJ name?" I'm like, "It's John."
It's
You know.
John.
And
That's what
like,
you should just be. Your name is just it's John.
yeah, I mean, but I'm thinking, like, do I go like, am I like Graybeard? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's
You
all
turn
kind of
into a
crazy
pirate.
stuff I could do. And
Yeah.
then I think at the same time, I'm like, do I do like a hip hop song and then do like a country song and then do like I would love to be like an R&B guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, dude. That is the avenue to be in. If I could be like Usher or Neo or like
right.
any of those guys, the dream. If I could be the
Mhm.
dream is actually the best out of all of those. I will die on that mountain saying that.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
because he is such a
Neo's pretty good.
talented producer too.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Oh,
You're right.
love the dream.
Yeah. But
Love the dream.
Neo's album, I guess it was a self-titled album, right? Neo.
I think so. Yeah, it was
That
back then.
that album was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was
All
that
because of you.
era. Yeah,
Yeah.
that era was. There was one song by oh, Omarion. That was another one. Omarion and like Ray J and Baby
Yeah.
Bash. And
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
bringing me back, man.
Yeah.
You
Right.
opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
Sugar Sugar by Baby
Yeah.
Bash
Right.
was
Yeah.
the
And then
song of 2002.
right. So like I'm thinking back, like, and it's funny because I just mentioned actually I guess I could say it here because my sister's birthday is tomorrow. But
Oh, happy birthday.
yeah, thanks. I'm sure she'll appreciate this. I'm not going to release this until um after
Happy
I
belated.
yeah, right. But so I was talking about, I think I was talking to someone about her wedding, and that's a whole other subject. But anyway, my dad's friend came up from Louisiana who he was in the military with. And back when my sister got married, it was 99, and I had my Wrangler. Well, the back seat, I took the back seat out and I just put subwoofers in the back, right?
As you do.
And yeah, exactly, right? So, and it was a soft top, so every time that you would, like, the bass would hit this, the
Just
windows
pop
would do
out.
that, right? Yeah, so when I had like when it snowed and stuff, like I wouldn't clear anything off. I just turned the radio on, it would blow the snow off the top. But yeah, so I think back that I forget what song it was. Anyway, my dad had to take my Jeep somewhere. I was still living at home, and my dad had to take my Jeep, and I had, I think I had, so it was 99. I probably was still like kicking like Snoop and stuff like that, right? And my dad came back, and I worked for John Middleton, so I always had like Black and Mild cigars, and my dad would always smoke them, right? So he came back around the corner, and I hear my Jeep just going boom boom, like I hear the bass like from like 3 blocks away, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what is going on here? And my dad turns a corner, and he just pulls up, and he had his hat like this, and, he had the cigar hanging out his mouth, and I was like, I said, why didn't you just turn it down or turn it off? Because I couldn't figure it out. Because there's so many buttons on your radio. So like that was his thing. Like, and then he would come home from work. It was crazy, man. He would always pull up from work, and that was his thing. But yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
So yeah, that music back in the day was just so good. Like now I take I take my daughter to, well, I did. She doesn't like me to take her anymore. Probably because I'm too awesome.
Yeah.
But like I took her to a couple PNB rock shows, and
PMB's good.
yeah, he puts on he puts on a good show. We went to the first one he had, or the first one we went to was at the um what's the one that's right there near the comedy club?
Uh, what part of town? Like
Like
Fishtown?
Fishtown. Yeah.
I have no idea. I know of like the Foundry
Yeah,
in Fishtown.
that might have been it. I don't
It's like
that
right next to like an arcade bowling alley type thing.
yeah, I don't remember what it was called,
There's
but
so many.
so anyway, she and I went there, and of course, we get there. The show's supposed to start at like 8 o'clock. Dude, it was freezing too. It was like it's probably like December 30th or something. Like it was crazy.
Mhm.
And we get there, and dude doesn't go on till like 9:30. Right, the
Yeah.
show's supposed to start at 8, and the next thing you know, he comes on. He put on a good show. It was crazy though because um, I'm not like a big fan of his, but when I go see a live show, I really try to understand
Yes.
the show. And but T Grizzly came out, and then A Boogie came out,
T
and then
Grizzly is the
yeah, and then Little Skies came out, and I'm like,
Little
I was like,
Skies too. What a
what is
show!
going on here? And my daughter's like, these guys? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, dude, like T Grizzly, I like it because he has the same build as me, right?
Yeah.
So he has like the short legs and like the long torso. So like his shirt sits on him the same way. I said, look, big guys are gonna get love too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, but they were throwing money into the crowd. Like legit throwing money into the crowd. There were girls, I mean, these kids were throwing their phones up on the stage. And I mean, you went to the Post Malone show, so you probably saw all that same stuff, right?
So great. Yeah, I went to yeah, I saw him at Boardwalk Hall in AC,
Yeah.
and I loved that show so much that I went back for Kane Brown, Chris Dickerson, and I forget who else, another really good guy
Yeah.
down there. And it was right before quarantine. It was like the last weekend in
Right.
January.
Well,
Great show.
Kane Brown's wife is from around here.
Yeah, she's from Westchester.
Yeah, so someone just saw him. Well, not just saw him, I guess, right before all the stuff went down. He was over at the casino,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just
no,
walking around.
yeah, and that's the same thing. You'll see. I saw when I was at the casino. I've seen Allen Iverson there at least 3 different times.
Yeah,
And every time, everybody, like I've met him when I worked at Mitchell and Ness,
right.
and like his thing is he hates random people coming up to him. He just
Yeah,
wants to be like by himself with his
just wants to be a
boys,
normal
like
guy.
blackjack. My buddy, I told him I was like, "Don't do it,
Hmm.
don't do it." He goes right up to him, "Dude, you're my idol. I can't believe you're here."
Hmm.
And he just basically told him off. And then he comes back to us, and he's all upset that AI told him off. I was like, "I told you." I was
Yeah,
like,
well,
don't be
so
heroes then, I guess.
so growing up, we used to see Allen Iverson all the time because we grew up in West Country back, obviously
Yeah,
when
he
those.
like lived there.
Yeah, so he lived right up the street. He actually lived on one side of West Country, and then when they lost the finals or whatever, or something happened, a
Mhm.
bunch of people went to his house, and so he ended up moving. And he lived next to M. Night Shyamalan. So we used to see him all the time because he would be hanging out at the boathouse on
Oh,
Fayette Street. And like we would just be walking around because we had nothing else to do. And we'd see him all the time. And then, as we got older, I remember being at the Wawa right there in West Country. And he'd pull in and like you would just be like, "Hey man, great game" or whatever, and he would just say thanks. And then, when we were younger, when he first came, because
mhm.
when did he come? 96?
96 rookie year. Yep.
96. So I was a junior, maybe I was a senior. Anyway, no, I had to be a junior because the season ends. But whatever the case was, he would pull in his Bentley, the white convertible with the white everything. And we would just be standing there and we'd have nothing to do. So he'd come up like, "Yo, man, what's going on?" He's like, "Nothing." We're like, "Yeah, that's a nice car." And he'd be like, you could sit in and just keep your feet off the seats. So like we would just hang out and wait for him to come around. But that goes back to like Sean Bradley lived there, Charles Barkley.
Hmm.
I just had this
My dad
conversation.
goes to the same gym as Chuck. He
Yeah,
goes to Planet Fitness in Ardmore.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
blew up his spot, so everyone's going to see Charles Barkley there. But
Yeah, it wasn't.
yeah,
Maybe I'll drop that out. Well, look, I don't have a
no,
whole lot of listeners anyway, Mike. Like, who's really going to listen to this, right?
no. Somehow he'll find out. Somehow he'll find out. He'll sue
Yeah,
me. I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Turner Sports.
yeah, right. But yeah, so like it was, going back like Dr. J, Sean Bradley, and me and my buddy Nooch were talking about this. Um, you knew Joe Antonucci?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Nooch.
Yeah. So his
Yeah, it's so
oldest
funny.
brother,
Everybody has the same nickname for those brothers. It's
right. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
Nooch.
Yeah.
Just which one are you talking about?
So his oldest brother and I are like super, super tight. And so, in talking with him, he and I were talking about different things and like Herschel Walker used to, when he played for the Eagles, we used to jog with him. Well, I mean, for a very short period of time because
I was gonna say, yeah.
he would jog. He lived in the Marriott for a while,
Mhm.
and he would jog all the way up to where REI is and then back. Like that was his like normal morning routine. And we would go over and like, he signed everything for us. And not until probably, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, did we all realize that he's a super introvert. Like he doesn't like people talking to him at all.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Like, I
Did
knew
you know
he was
he fought in, he fought in the MMA?
Did he really?
Mike, look up Herschel Walker fighting MMA. He was devastating. Like
Jeez.
it was ridiculous. And he was 40. So it was like, and he might have been a little older than that, but I mean, and they
Yeah.
say that is he the one that never lifted weights?
Yeah. Well, that was what Allen Iverson said. He said they were too heavy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. But
You don't want to lift weights. Those things are
yeah,
heavy.
one of those football players didn't never lifted weights. I don't know if it was Herschel Walker or maybe
I
it was Bo
forget.
Jackson.
Yeah, because one of them used to literally run up a hill that was like this. They
Yeah,
found in like Minnesota or something. They would just
right.
run up this hill.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
his off-season program.
right. So,
That's.
what else you got going on, man? You going to start this podcast or what?
I'm thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. The problem is, I have a lot to talk about, but I get easily just like I could start on one thought and I won't finish it, and
Just
I'll just jump
include
to 50.
the word bumbling in your title like I do, and you'll be fine. Because
I'll
you,
just all right. I'll alter it. I'm the Stambling or the Stambling Pollock or something.
there you go. That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, man. But
Yeah.
I definitely think you should do it. Look, even if you just write down some bullet points and just hit on them, like the one thing I've realized is if I don't have a guest or someone on here, like my watch time is very, very short, like under 10 minutes. Like, so I try to keep everything, 10 minutes or under. Like if I'm just like the other day, I did one about like how I envision things to be, right? So I reverse engineer everything in my head. I say, okay, like I want to be retired by a certain age. I want to be living in this place. How do I get there? And I'm just like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. And I just work my way back to where I am now. And, hopefully I get there. That's just the way my brain works. So,
Absolutely. No, that's awesome.
but I want you to get something going because I mean, you have a lot of stuff you could talk about. You could even do like a daily sports thing.
Yeah. Well, that was funny. So I actually was starting a podcast with one of my buddies right before this all went down. I was actually doing it. Forget what we called it. It was going to be like Kings of Prussia or something like that. And we were
Okay.
just going to talk about anything we wanted. But half of it was going to be sports and the other half was entertainment. And then they took sports away. And then entertainment's been slowing down a little bit too. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, this is kind of tough. But
So I've seen a lot of stuff coming out. And even if it's just on social media, it's like all the old school, like baseball stuff. Like when,
oh, I saw the old timers game from '86.
yeah,
I saw Ted Williams bat 3 times at Fenway. He got
right.
out every time, but I loved watching
Right.
that.
But there are these guys that just do these like they'll just kind of analyze and break down. Like I saw one with you remember
That
Norm
guy,
Charles?
Cowboy Media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch a lot of his videos. He
The,
is
the
really,
the latest one I
really.
saw, the latest one I saw was when Norm Charlton ran Mike Sosha over.
Yeah.
That was like the greatest, and Norm Charlton was a pitcher, right? So he was part of that Legion of, was it that might have been the Legion of Doom or something like that.
Mhm.
I forget what they were, but that was back in the Rob Dibble days and all
Mhm.
that. So actually, Jared Blair always wanted to be Rob Dibble. He liked to throw at people. He might not admit that, but Jared loved throwing at people.
See, I found out as soon as I learned. So I have, instead of, it's actually ironic, I have baseball in my hand. So like I was always a catcher, right? So
Right.
I would always just try to fool around with like pitches and everything, just because
Hmm.
I never could throw them because I was always behind the plate. So like I would obviously get the four seam down, get the two seam down, but then my brother tried to tell me to throw a curveball like this with
Hmm.
like my knuckle down. I was like, all right. So I throw it and I flick, and it works a little bit, but I have like no control over it.
Yeah.
So what I found out is, and you could take this home with you. So so you cross the laces
Hmm.
real nice, so you almost have like a C looking at you.
Yep.
And I legitimately aim for their front shoulder,
Yep.
and that thing will cut right across the heart of the plate. And that is what I learned makes an effective curveball.
Hmm.
If you don't have that much break or something, just throw it at their head. It's going to break. It's not going to hit them,
Yep.
but it's going to make them go, oh.
Yeah.
And
It'll
then
make
they,
them. It'll make them think a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's great though. You
Yeah. I
got
had
to
a
throw at people. You just got to make it look like a mistake.
right. So I never growing up. I guess through little league, I was never allowed to. I had coaches that they wouldn't let us throw like curveballs, right? So it was just like you're too young, you shouldn't be doing it. And then like towards the end of like your 12-year-old year, right? I guess your last year of little league, they would start teaching us some things. And
Yep.
my buddy Chris, his brother Kenny was on my team, and they taught him to throw. It was the nastiest curveball I've ever seen. And I remember we were playing tournament ball up in Coventry, and
Mhm.
and Kenny showed me how to throw this ball, and I did it, and it dove like
Mhm.
it dove so bad, and I had to catch. So I was a catcher too, and I actually remember he threw a curveball. I stuck my glove out like this, and the bat hit my hand.
Oh yeah.
So not only did I have catcher's interference and they got the base, like I thought my hand blew off of my arm.
Yeah.
Um, but getting I guess on the baseball side of things, like we have a couple guys next year that I'm super excited about. Without saying their last names, I think Sean's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he's got just like the build of just a pure athlete.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
and
can
then
just do everything.
yeah, we have a few guys I'm really looking forward to. Sean's
And
definitely one of them. Obviously Nolan will probably be 6'9" by next year.
is a 6'9", 250.
Yeah, and obviously Muskie, and I can't wait to see him running. And
And unfortunately we won't have Ashton.
right, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's a shame.
he's doing well though. He's doing well.
Yeah.
He got the situation taken care of from what I understand, and he's doing well. So
Because I know soccer is like a huge thing for him too. And
yeah,
that is, I would hate for him to have a leg injury cost him soccer,
yeah. No,
even though
he
he's a goalie.
yeah. It's funny, man. I think back like on just the fun that we had. Like I think we were a good ball team. We're
Mhm.
young, right? And I
Yeah.
think this year we would have came out and been difficult to beat.
Mhm.
Um,
Just imagine next year though.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
We have some really good talented kids coming up, and
absolutely.
with
We got Preston coming up, right?
oh yeah, like I can't wait to see him. I
Yeah.
can't wait to have his dad. I can't wait to have Blair involved, just
Yep.
from a leadership point of view. You know,
Hmm.
um, but yeah. So we may still have a Babe Ruth season. So I've put in, if we're able to have a Babe Ruth season, I put in. I would love to be a coach or the
Hmm.
coach, to
Absolutely.
try to pull these guys together.
Absolutely. If that happens, I will happily be by your side and
Yeah,
helping out with that.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I've been
So
having the itch. I literally keep this on my desk just because when I'm teaching, I'm just like sitting here like, all right,
right, yeah,
like I need something.
yeah, yeah. I never thought that I would miss pushing dirt around so much.
So much. I would
Yeah,
rake that field 10 times over if we
yeah.
could get play, but
Well, you cut the grass with your weed whacker last year,
I did. Yeah, it was growing in the infield. That was dedication. My legs were cut up for weeks
right?
because of that.
Well, that's because you were wearing shorts.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I wasn't wearing long pants. It was like 98 that
Yeah,
day.
it was. It
It
was
was so
crazy.
hot. I had a couple groundskeepers from the school district come up to me.
Yeah.
They were like, "What are you doing?" It's like we have a game in like 5 hours, and there's an entire infield filled with weeds.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it wasn't the prettiest, but hey, it's a ball field. I played on Chiquino with shards of glass and trash in the outfield.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still like that down there today.
Yeah, it's a
Still like
shame.
that. But yeah, man. Well, look, I appreciate your time, Mike, and I can't wait to get back out
You
on the
always have
field.
my time, man.
Yeah. And I think I really do think you should start to put your own little deal together. You know,
All
I
right.
think right now's the time. I do. I think,
I got a name for it. It's the Stumbling Yeti. How do you like it?
hey, whatever. I'm okay with that. I got it. You know, I got someone who can do a logo for you too.
I was gonna say, yeah.
We could just change a couple of the letters.
Yeah, I would just make it a red logo instead of blue. It would be
Yeah.
like an orangutan instead of a Yeti or
Yeah.
something.
Yo, on that note, did you see the Phillies and Sixers mashup uniforms?
No, they're probably really nice though.
You got to look it up. I think it's a Sixers. I think it's a Phillies Sixers. I think it's on Bryce Harper's.
Phillies Sixers jersey mashup. Because I
Yeah.
saw the Philadelphia Union did that with their jersey. They basically were like, all right, what would be the kits for the Phillies? And
Mhm.
the Eagles one looks sweet.
Yeah.
Um,
So they're like the cement gray with the stars around the 76 up on the chest. It
oh
looks
yeah,
amazing, man. I would love to see that. I mean, I'm a purist, man. I don't want them to. I would love for them to go back to the old Phillies, like the
I think
blue.
there's yeah the burgundy and the light blue.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the best jersey in all of baseball. The only one that can honestly come close to it is the Cardinals baby blue as well, and that still
yeah,
can't touch it.
yeah, yeah,
Or Royals baby blue, like a Bo Jackson '80s Royals.
yeah, yeah. Well, the Royals were pretty much the ones that really started that. I think, right?
Yeah, I mean royal blue, and then they were like, "Oh, let's just go powder."
I'd love to see the old Orioles stuff going on,
Yeah,
like the old, like the bright orange.
I have a I think I still have it. I might have sold it. I'll be mad if I sold it. It was a Brooks Robinson jersey. Loved Brooks Robinson. It was a old cotton one or
Yep.
wool one, so
Yeah.
it was so hot and itchy, and I would never wear it.
Yeah.
But I just loved having that jersey. It was
Yeah.
great.
I had an autograph from him, and my mom worked for a doctor, and his son went to Johns Hopkins on a baseball scholarship, but he's a doctor now as well. And he got some kind of award, and Brooks Robinson signed a bunch of stuff for
That's
me,
awesome.
and I didn't know who it was because I was so young.
You're like, wow,
And
some guy
I
signed that.
remember looking at it, and the way he signed it, I was like, who is Bazaki Robinson? Because the way he wrote it, it looked like it said Bazaki, and I'm like, what is it? So I'm like, whatever. So like I think I might have like wrote on it, or I needed the sleeve that it was in for like some book report,
Yeah.
and I don't even know where it went. So I lost a Willie Mays signed ball having to catch at my mom's house with Jared.
I would kill you.
It was. I remember it was literally looking back. It was like the Sandlot. Like I was like, I need a baseball, and so we were having to catch, and I lost a Willie Mays signed ball in the woods. It's the ball's probably still there. I looked for it. Every once in a while I'll look for it, but yes.
Yeah, and I mean the one cool thing I have is my grandfather or my grandmother actually had it. It's in my possession now, but they my grandfather had a heart attack in the 90s, I believe. That was like his first of many. He died in 2015, so he got over that one. But while he was in the hospital, he was a huge Richie Ashburn guy.
Mhm.
Somehow, some way, Richie Ashburn wrote a letter to my grandmother,
Mhm.
and so it's no like envelope is still like I have the envelope and the letter all together, signed at the bottom, Richie Ashburn.
Mhm.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, you got a Richie Ashburn signed a letter and wrote a letter to you. It was like, hello, Dolores. I'm sorry to hear about Bill and the tough time he's having. And I'm
Right,
like,
yeah,
oh my God.
yeah.
You were talking to Whitey.
So I have I think I think I mentioned it, but I'll have this conversation with Jared as well. But like Jared and I were like brothers, still are like brothers. But
Mhm.
like growing up, he was my first friend I ever had in my life because his mom and my mom were like they were first friends. So I in it had to be 96, and that was the year that Richie Ashburn and Mike Schmidt were both going into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So my aunt, who I live in her house right now, she and my mom were going up to Cooperstown because they wanted to be a part of this whole
Big town.
Phillies, like it was a big Phillies day, right?
Mm.
So I was like, okay, cool. Well, that year I was in a home run derby. So I don't know if you remember the old home run derbies that Phillies used to put on,
Mhm.
but I was in that, and I was in a regional qualifier. And if I won at the regional qualifier, I would go down to the vet back in, the old
Yeah.
vet. And so my mom's like, yeah, she's like, you can't go to Cooperstown. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. She's like, you can't go. She goes, you started this process, you have to finish it. I'm like, are you kidding me? She goes, no. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? And she's like, we're going to take Jared. So they took my best friend instead of taking
Wow.
me. And then like the stories that they tell me about the time they had there, I'm like, like I actually just sent Jared a picture that I found. My mom sent me a bunch of pictures, but
That's awesome.
they just went and had like the greatest time. And like here I am, like I was at this, home run derby thing that I was at.
Yeah.
And but it was worth it. I got to, go down and I met Harry Callis and
That's awesome.
yeah, like Jim Eisenreich came out and he was hanging out with us. And so that was 90. It's 90. It had to be 94,
Yeah.
94, 95 because I met Pete Incaviglia too. So that was big. I think I met him. But whatever the case is, yeah. So like, there are those things. Richie Ashburn, Mike Schmidt go in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to get to go, and then my mom's like,
Nope.
yeah,
Best friends.
you can't go. So and I guess last story, and then I'll shut up because again, Mike, this is the bumbling Yeti. I like to just talk about stuff nonstop. So when I worked for Altria, I would go down to Richmond a lot. So Philip Morris, USA. And one of the guys I got to know really well, his name was Joel. I'll leave his last name out, but his cousin is Andre Dawson.
Oh, jeez.
So like he's telling me all these stories. He's like, oh yeah, he's like when I would, I would go hang out at my cousin's house, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, I would go, and then he ended up being the bat boy. So he was a bat boy for that team, like Andre Dawson, Mark Grace, like
God.
all those guys. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's great. So then when Andre Dawson went into the Hall of Fame, because like I talk baseball with him all the time, like all the
Mhm.
time. Joel's such a good dude. I'll probably reach out to him. Maybe I'll get him on here. That'd be interesting. But he's such a good guy, super genuine. And I had a golf tournament that year for my dad when it was like my dad and my uncle had a golf tournament every year to benefit the Mayo Clinic and Peter's Place, which is right in Radnor.
Mm.
Um, he goes, yeah, he called me. He's like, yo, he's like, my cousin's going in. Do you want to go? He's like, because I can get you like all this access. And I'm like, I don't know. And I think at the time I was going through some stuff and I was like, I can't go, but that's the one thing I wish I would have did because like he was up there, like the whole family was there just hanging out. And,
Mhm.
I think at that time, Andre Dawson might've been the GM or the assistant GM of the Marlins.
Mhm.
And then he's telling me, he's like, oh, he's like, you want to go to the game? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, well, you have to sit with the Marlins wives and the families. I was like, yeah, I think I'm good.
That's
But
great.
yeah, man, some really good, interesting baseball stories. So
Oh yeah, we could go on for hours with these.
yeah, I don't know if it did you listen to the podcast I did with Nooch?
No, not yet.
So go listen, if you want to listen to it, go listen to it. But there, he and I went to the 96 All-Star game. And
I'm
there's
still
a
salty about that because they haven't been back since.
right. Well, they're coming back in 2026.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot. Man, this coronavirus really just wipes your brain.
Right. Yeah. So there's really funny story about him. Like he, if you know any of the Antonucci's, you know that you're gonna have a good time when you go hang out
Yeah,
with them, right? So,
yeah.
but he the story, I'll see if I get the timing of it, I'll send it to you so you can just scrub to that part. But like
Okay.
there we were in front of Emmett Smith. That's how good our seats were. Like,
Jeez.
and
Cowboys suck.
yeah, right. But you know, looking back, and then there was a time, so there's this girl, anyway, there's this girl that we worked with. Her dad was a surgeon down in Philly at one of the big hospitals. And she would get tickets like all the time because I think her dad was part of like the Phillies, or her somehow friends with the Phillies doctor. So like I remember I parked in Bill Giles' spot one time underneath the vet. So no one ever parked under there. So they just kept telling me, they're like, just go here, go here, go here, because I had the special parking pass. And yeah, I parked in Bill Giles' spot, and I had my dad's 86 Grand Am, and it had like a rust spot on the door, and like the thing was falling off the side of it. But yeah, we walked out. I don't know if you remember the seats that were on the field, but there's plexiglass right in front of them.
Yep.
She and I sat right there. And I'm like, how did you even get these tickets? She goes, my dad just got them. I don't know. Dude, we had all the food was free. All the, like the parking was free. The tickets, everything was crazy. So anyway.
We gotta get the screwballs when this is over, and we'll reminisce about baseball.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, even if we have to sit in the parking lot, I'll just put the tailgate down and we can just sit in there.
Absolutely. I'm all for that. I'll bring the beers.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you being on here, Mike. I know, we did a whole lot of talking about nothing, which is great.
That's all I love talking about.
The best conversations to have. But
Absolutely.
yeah, man, if you need any help with anything, let me know. I'd love to get you, rolling on this, because you definitely have a lot to talk about, and I think it's stuff that people would like to listen to. So, I mean, just from my perspective, but
thank you, Mr. Yeti. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You got it. And so I'll just close this out here. Again, everyone, this is John from the Bumbling Yeti. My guest here today was Mike Shannon. Just a good friend of mine, someone I know from baseball, and kind of that relationship bloomed into what I would consider a really good friendship. So, just keep doing your thing, and hopefully baseball comes back soon. Right. That's
right. It's got to come back eventually.
Look, I don't even care. And there's a whole other subject we could talk about those robots that they're putting in the stands it was in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I'd have to click on a different button to post that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Again, Mike, I appreciate it. And if you have any ideas for me, I value your opinion a lot, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, really anything for that matter. And I do have an idea I will text you about, because I think that you are the perfect person for this thing.
All right. Perfect.
But I don't want to talk about it here, because it'll travel around very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
All right,
so
cool. I can't wait for the next then. Dude, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. This was awesome. Thank you.
And we'll catch up at some point, and definitely grab some beers and grab some wings. And I hope Screwballs like makes it through this.
Oh, they are. I've seen them. They're still doing some stuff, so they're all good.
Do you think the wings do you think they'll still have wing night?
They better. I'll riot.
Like, if they keep their wings the same price,
they will. They
could jack the beer prices
the same price. They'll keep having wing night, and people will still come.
Yeah. I can't wait to go down and eat in there.
Public restaurant. I can't wait for it, man.
Yeah, no.
Who would have thought?
All right, buddy. Well, look, enjoy the shore and the beach. Where are you going? Which shore point?
Going to Margate. Going to Margate.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So not really going to the beach, because you have to be like fishing, and like that's like you can do a couple things, but not much. So it's going to be like a little picnic, pretty much, just change of scenery. But
you on the bay?
No, we're actually so we're 2 blocks from the beach. It's really, really nice. It's awesome. Okay. We're right off of Ventnor Ave. So we're right by the Monopoly board. Yeah,
so that's a pretty easy ride. Should be pretty easy.
Yeah. It's you drive to AC and you're there.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I have a buddy that has a beautiful house there in Brigantine.
Oh yeah, my buddy's girlfriend has a house there. It's gorgeous. That island is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Good deal,
Dude,
man. Well, look, have a
thank you.
great weekend. Enjoy the holiday and be
Same to
safe.
you. Thank you. Happy Memorial Day.
Yes, thank you, sir. All right, buddy.
All right, we'll
All
talk
right,
to you.
man.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.